Hello and welcome to Wildlife Cam. I did get some footage from my cameras from when I was away in the Kruger Park. Not as much as I normally would have because I don't monitor the cameras as closely when I'm away. And also there was another elephant related incident. The bush is starting to dry out now. It's been a while since we had any decent rain. There is still the possibility of more rain going into April, but it's also just as possible that we get nothing more until next summer. We had a brief visit from some monkeys. They're not resident here anymore, which is probably not a bad thing. They do leave quite a lot of mess around, and also they'll grab anything that you leave lying around. There's a toad that fled the water and is dashing for cover now. See if you can guess which one of the elephants comes over to the camera and pulls apart the Ethernet connector and strips all the wiring out. The camera does still work, but it doesn't work being plugged into my router anymore. It only works with Wi-Fi, which I'm not getting down at the waterhole, so I've had to move this camera back up closer to the house and then get a new camera for the waterhole. It is my fault. I should have done a better job of hiding the cables, which I've done now. I've included a few more things from the pond because of the waterhole camera being offline for a little while. This is a baby leopard tortoise that we found in the garden. It's not newborn, probably already a year or more old. They grow very slowly, but still tiny. This is Mrs. Carl, I presume, with her little brood of junior Carls. I don't think Carl was around. I haven't seen him looking angrily at the camera for a while, so hopefully he is still alive and is just keeping a low profile. But Mrs. Carl and her youngsters, you can see the youngsters, they have black eyes and a little bit of white around the base of the beak. They've been visiting the pond every day, multiple times a day, but I'm assuming that once they grow up they'll move off like the last brood did. Not far from us, we found this little group of lions. Now, we couldn't see all of them. I think there were 5 in total. We haven't had any of them visiting the waterhole lately. They've been avoiding us, but they have been close by quite a few times. This is one of the older young males. I don't think it's the biggest young male. I haven't seen him for a little while. But there's a fair amount of chaos with the lions. They've been splitting up into all sorts of different groups. There's not a lot of food for them, but also with the new males coming in, it's caused a little bit of chaos. And then the next evening, just near the fourways, presumably the same group, there were 4 of them just lying in the road. A couple of hours later we went back, and they were still lying in the road. The lead lioness had been calling constantly, so I don't know if they ever found what they were looking for. So this is the new position of the waterhole camera. It's in a baobab tree quite close to the house where it has access to electricity, and also it can still pick up a Wi-Fi signal. And then on Wednesday I got the new camera and installed it, so everything back to normal. On the left there's a pretty large group of crested francolins. I think it's 2 families. There were more than 10 of them at one stage. But they are smaller than the francolins on the right, which is the Swainson's francolin. It's just the mother coming in with a very large brood. There's 6 babies, which is pretty good going with all the predators in the area. I think it helps that there's so much long grass at the moment, so all the little ground dwelling birds are doing quite well. The migrant birds like this cuckoo are going to be thinking about leaving fairly soon. Usually by the end of April they've all gone. And that's where the water hole is, at the back there. So this camera is a bit closer to the house, and I don't expect it to get as much action as the water hole, but we should get a bit of passing traffic every now and again. And yesterday we went for a drive a couple of kilometers away from us, and we found this black impala. I mentioned it last week when we had the other weird colored impala. So that's a melanistic impala, and she's been around for a few years. And then close by, this is one of the younger males. He's been spending a bit of time on his own, which is unusual because he's not really competent at hunting. He seems to be following the others around, but not too closely. These cameras do record in color if you put on the little inbuilt spotlight, but I normally don't put on the light unless we have people staying with us, but we did, and so I managed to get this porcupine in color. Thanks for watching.